Hello everybody, CW here. I drug out some rifle stuff, rifle calibers to show you and talk about. Hopefully we can streamline this down a little bit less than 30 minutes that we did last time. Although a few of you said that you didn't mind it. I don't like to make videos that long. It doesn't keep the attention span of most folks. So let's get going here. We've got some pretty neat stuff, at least I think so. Some from really big old Western cowboy stuff to more modern styles and designs. But here would be probably the most modern I have on the table. This is a caseless 223. So that white is actually the powder. That little black dot is the priming compound, and it's fired electronically. And nothing comes out of the chamber. The bullet comes out of the barrel, and nothing comes out of the chamber. Pretty neat high-tech stuff. And then we've got oldest is probably going to be something like this 40 caliber Maynard casing from an 1865 percussion. Look at that. Isn't that weird? Look at the size of that rim. Pretty neat stuff. Here's another old timer. This is another Maynard. This is a 50-50 cartridge. Maynard 1865. With another huge, great big rim. It's got a tiny little hole right in the base. Pretty cool. They were a pin fire, then somebody soldered this up. It has a pin that came out of the side. And here is a 11mm rim fire from a Swiss rifle. Rim fire. Vertelli. This is the one that everybody tries to convert to a 43. And I had a 43 here somewhere. These are sharps. They're close, but they're not exact. I had a 43 here, and I thought I did, and I don't see it. It must be in the box. Anyway, there is a centerfire version almost identical to this in centerfire. And then over here we have this is a rimfire 44. So it's a really pretty big case, and it's got like a, I wouldn't call it a belt, it's more like a crimp in the base. I don't know exactly what's going on there with that, but that's the way it is. Maybe to make the priming compound stay in the base. Who knows? But it's a lead bullet, 44 caliber. And the note here says probably from an 1866 Yellow Boy, but I don't know about that. Here's the one I showed you last time, and this one here was in the box, 52 caliber rimfire. Gibbs, Jocelyn, Palmer, Sharps, Spencer carbines. There's a bunch of them that were chambered for this cartridge. And pretty old stuff. Neat. And we got some more modern stuff. Of course, most people have seen a 50 caliber Browning. Here's some elephant cartridges. This one here is a 416 Remington. This one here is a 458 Lot, L-O-T-T. This one here is a 500 Nitro Express. This one here is a 505 Gibbs. And then this one over here is a 450 number 2. These are just great big elephant cartridges. Big giant stuff. And talking about big giant stuff, here's two more elephant cartridges. These are two different ones. This one is a 600 Nitro. So 60 caliber. And this one is a 600 Overkill. And I've showed and talked with this one a couple times in the chats. I've got a couple of the bullets in my bullet box. I think these are 1,000 grains or 950 grains, but they're big, great big giant things. And let's see, let's go over into some cowboy stuff, older stuff. These are 45 120s, full length case. I think these are both Bertram. Yeah, these are both Bertram brass. So these are both hand loads, which is not surprising. You don't find this ammo very often. And we got some other neat stuff here. This one here, I don't know these off the top of my head. This is a 4072. And there's a whole pile of these different ones. Here's a 3872. This one's a 3855. I'm going to say, yeah, high velocity. 3855 HV. And then we've got this is a 3856. A little bit fatter case. This one here, I'm not sure what it is. It's not marked. Not sure how old it is. You know, there's no stamping on the case head. But it's a 38 caliber something or other. And we'll step over into some little more modern stuff. This is a 33 Winchester centerfire. This was quite similar to the 348s. What do we got here? This is that's another 33. That's another 33. And here's a 348. Yeah, here's a 348. So pretty similar case. Dimensions and rifle and everything. This was just an older caliber, 33 caliber. And let's see, we got a couple more here. I think these are more 3855s. Let's see. This is a 3870. And this one's a 3855. And these two are 3240s, which is a really neat cartridge. Similar to the 32 Special. A little less powerful, a little bit older. But it's just a tapered case, no shoulder. And while we're talking about those, let's go over here across the table and pull some of these up. What we've got here is Remington's answer to Winchester's 3030 and 32 Special. And that is this one here is a 32 Remington. They chose to go rimless, where Winchester went with rims. Here's a 30 Remington. Here's another 30 Remington. This is a Winchester silver tip, obviously. This is a Remington. And over here, I think this is another. Yep, this is another Remington in 30. Another Remington made 30 Remington. And this is a 303 Savage. No, I'm sorry. This is a 32. This is a 32 Remington as well, in a Remington loading. I got a Savage here too. 303 Savage here too. Here's a couple more that were 22 HP. Here's a really old one. Here's a newer one. And they weren't hollow point. They were just 22 HP calibers. Probably never heard of that one. Here's some SL self-loaders. Winchester made these. These were used by prison guards. These were used around the time of Bonnie and Clyde. They were a semi-automatic Winchester, and they had three of them. They had a 350, which was the first one. Then they had a 351 SL self-loader. That's what this one is. And then the 401 SL self-loader. That's these here. And they were available in full metal case and soft points, but the 401s had a special ball in the end, just a different design bullet. And I think we've got a Winchester and a Remington here. Yeah, this is a Union Metallic, so before Remington owned them. And Winchester Repeating Arms Company and Union Metallic. Pretty cool. And we've got some blanks and a practice load here. We've got a couple of 300 Savages, blanks, and a couple of 3006s, a couple different styles. This one here had a had a cap over it, and this is a more traditional wax covered. And this here is a 308 practice round, much more modern. These actually go pretty good. They'll cycle actions. They're actually full of powder. They're full right to the top. You can actually see the powder in the neck of the case there. And the bullet does come out. So this could be lethal up close. A couple of people have done videos on these online, and they're fairly accurate. They're just super short range because the projectile is so super light. It doesn't go very far. But you can shoot targets with it. You can, cycle the actions of firearms, semi-auto firearms with it. It's pretty neat stuff. And that's those. Over here we've got a couple of different kinds of cartridges. Now this is one that I showed you in the last video. This is the 410 US that I was corrected. It's not necessarily a US military. It was a US manufacturer. These here look like 410s too, but they're not. These are 4570s. Here's a 4570. I believe it's a shot over being a blank, but I'm not certain. And this one here is a blank. 4570 blank. This one here says 40 government. Yeah, 45 government on it. Don't know how old they are. Here's one you probably didn't know about. I showed you one of these before, and this is a 2520. Nothing special, just 2520. But this one over here is a 2520 HV, high velocity. A higher velocity version. This was a 60 grain bullet going much faster. And this is a 2520. But wait, it's so much bigger. It's different. Kind of the same, but different. Well, this is a 2520 because there was a couple of them. This is back before lawyers and things they had to worry about. They didn't worry about this stuff. If you didn't have common sense, you got killed and you weren't around to bother anybody else. So common sense was a lot more important back then. And here's one I just have a case for. This is a 32 Ideal. And this came to be around the 1900s. It was a gallery type gun designed to make economical use of powders and be a pot gun, small game gun. It had a 150 grain bullet. If I'm remembering correctly, it was around 12 or 1300 feet per second with a 150 grain bullet. And it would burn just a little bit of powder to get there. So you get quite a ways with a can of powder loading this one. And again, it's called a 32 Ideal. And with them, we've got a number of cartridges here. These were called Kangaroo cartridges. And these are out of Australia. And I believe they're just for that. They were designed around caribou. Did I say caribou? Kangaroo. Shooting kangaroos. And this one here is a Winchester repeating arms. It's a 2521. This one here is a 2525. And this one here is a 2830. And it's a pretty long skinny case. I'm not sure of the firearms they used them in, but they were probably single shots or that type of a rifle. And we're going back to probably just into the 1900s with these, into the 20s maybe. So pretty neat stuff. Here's some stuff that you're probably familiar with. They're old, but you're probably going to recognize them. This one here is a 4590. Is that a Winchester? Yeah, Winchester repeating arms, 4590. Here's another 4590. This one's also Winchester repeating arms. And then we've got a 4082. I believe this is a 4082. 4065. I'm sorry, 4065. So very similar case, but neck down. And then we've got a couple of 4570s. And I put a couple of them in here because they're different bullets and different loadings, but they're lead. So this one here is a Union Metallic 4570. with an SH head stamp. This one here has no caliber designation, but it's 1084 with a CF on it. So it's some kind of military designation. This one here is a more modern, but this one is a 4570 Winchester repeating arms, high velocity. So again, they used a bit lighter bullet and they got higher velocities. And these here are two 50-70s. These are 50 caliber with 70 grains of black powder. And this one here is marked 50-70. Sorry guys, I got off the screen there for you. And this one here is not marked at all. So this one here is probably much older. But pretty neat stuff. And talking about the straight wall, you know, I got that 360 Remington video that I did, and the new cartridge that's coming out. This is under 2 inches. So this would qualify as a straight wall in most states. It's under 2 inches long case with a 50 caliber bullet. That'd be a darn nice hunting bullet. Okay, so we've gone through most of what we got here. Let's talk about a couple of these down here. These are a couple of Sharps cartridges. This one here is a 45-75. This one here is not marked, but there was a whole bunch that were really close to it. You can see the shoulders a little bit different. There's no markings on this case, but it's another Sharps, I'm sure, another Sharps cartridge. And this one here has no markings on it, but it's also a 45-ish diameter bullet. Lots of lead and a little bit of a jacket coming through. Just neat old stuff. Here we have a couple of common ones. These were for the Winchester 1895 lever action. And we got here is a 405 Winchester. This was Teddy Roosevelt's big medicine. 405 Winchester. And here's the 35 Winchester. There's been some talk about this one with the straight wall stuff. And as you can tell, it's not a straight wall. It has a bottleneck, and it's also too long. The case length needs to be 1.8 inches to qualify for all the straight wall states. Ohio doesn't have a limit on their straight wall. They just need to be straight wall. But you can see here, we are at 2.45 inches for the case length. So much too long for straight wall. 405, same thing. 405 would be a straight wall, and it would be okay in Ohio, but it's too long of a case for most other states. It's even a little bit longer at 2.475. And here's a couple of neat ones. Here's what I know you're going to be familiar with. And where is the other one? Here's the other one. I know you're going to be familiar with. This one here is just a 303 British, but it's a neat one. It's a Remington Peters with one of their Remington Peters round nose bullets. But these here are a little bit different. What we've got here are 30-06s. Well, are they? This one is. These aren't. This one's a 30-06. If you look at the head stamp, let's see if I can zoom in and make sure you can see it. Sorry for jiggling you there. Let me get it focused. And what you've got there is a Western 30G for 30 government. But it's a 30 government of 1906, because a 30 government is right over here. Where is it? 30 government's right here. This is a 30 government. Doesn't have a designation on it, but I think this one does. It's a 30 government, and it says Remington 30. Does it say USA? I've never seen USA before, but this is 30 government, or a 30-40 Krag. So this is a really old one. It replaced the 3040 Krag, and it replaced, actually technically this 30 of 1906 replaced this, which was the 30 of 1903. So this is the 3003, so is this. Difference is the bullets. And they were a big, heavy round nose, 220 grain round nose, the same as most of the 30 governments, being this cartridge here. So this bullet here in this cartridge is the same as what's in these 3003s, but it's different than the 3006 because the 3006 got a pointed bullet because we realized that ballistically, with the range capable of these new modern cartridges with all this powder capacity and the smokeless powder, you could really take advantage of a streamlined bullet and pick up energy, retain energy, and velocity better. And they did do it some with the 30 government too, because there's one to prove it. This is a factory loading. This is how they were for some cartridges. And then over here we got a neat one. This one here is a wooden bullet. And it's also 30 Army or 30 government. This is a 3040 Krag with a wooden bullet. Sorry I got focus issues there, guys. Sorry about that. Let's zoom back out here so we can see everything. And we're getting down to the end. We're 20 minutes in. Try and pick it up here a little bit. I got Roger texting me here, taking up my screen. Here we have 7.62 by 54. And, well, this is. What do you got here? See a little bit of difference? It's a little bit fatter, a little bit shorter shoulder, but it says 7.62 on it. And this is another one. This one's a Norma. 7.62 Russian. So these two are the same. This one here is different. It's also a much different bullet. Pretty old, pretty cool. Here is a really neat one. This is one of the first 6mm, and it's a government cartridge. It's a 6mm Lee Navy. Let me zoom you in again, see if I can do it without shaking you like crazy. And we'll get it to focus. And there we go. There's your head stamps. Winchester repeating arms. And what's this one say? I can't read this one. UMC, so Remington. There we go. I think these are super neat. These are pretty rare. 6mm Lee Navy. And we're getting down to the end, guys. Here's a 3006 armor piercing. This isn't the way they were. Somebody cut the tip off to expose that tip. And here's a 3006 accelerator round. This was a 22 caliber bullet in a sabot in the 3006. And we're getting down to the end. We talked about the caseless. Here's a 218 Mashburn B. This is a Wildcat. You've probably heard of the 218B. This is a Mashburn B. They blew the shoulder out to remove body taper and then moved it forward and gave it a sharp angle. They picked up quite a bit of velocity and a little bit of power. And it'll say 218B on the case head, but it's modified. It's rechambered to a modified case to allow more powder capacity and a little bit of velocity. I think we got most of the bullets here that I've got out talked about. We got a bag of 5mm rem over there. I just kind of threw them on the bench. Here is a 270. This is a modern bullet, but with a moly-coated blue projectile. I had the name of these and it just slipped right out of my head. This is a 765 Argentine. Ballistically, about the same as a 308, a little behind a 3006. 53 millimeter case as opposed to the 51 millimeter for the 308. Or the 63 millimeter for the 3006. So it's a little bit smaller than 06, but a little bigger than 308. But it's loaded to a little bit lower pressures, so it's about equal to a 308. And it's a larger diameter. It's a 312 bullet. The 308's a 308 bullet. And there we go, everybody. That's about everything I laid out for us. These here are a couple modern ones. I threw these in just to show you. There is a 375 JDJ, if you've never seen one. It's a 444 Marlin case with a shoulder neck down to 375. Here is another 375. This is a Dan Wesson 375 Super Mag. This would qualify for straight wall in most states. Probably all the states, because it's under 1.8. I think it's 1.7. Yeah, it's 1.69. So yeah, it will qualify easily. And here is another one that everybody talked about, or a lot of folks talked about. This is not a 30-30, but that's where the brass comes from. This is a 357 Harriet, but you can see a shoulder, so it doesn't qualify. It's short enough, but it's a shouldered cartridge, so it does not qualify for straight wall. But that's a 357 Harriet case, piece of brass. All right, guys, there we go. I got it in under 30, 26, 27 minutes. I hope you liked it. I've got one more video I want to do for you guys. I've got a bunch of full boxes of loaded ammunition of old stuff, obsolete stuff, discontinued stuff. A lot of shotgun, but I got a lot of rifle and pistol too. So I'm going to put together that video next, and look for that in the next couple days. God bless everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. CW out.